I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If you look at your agenda, you'll see a number of changes or corrections that are needed. One being that the agenda is, the date is 11/4/19. And we'll be looking at the minutes of the 10/21/19 board meeting. And ask for a motion to accept. Eddie,
I'll move.
moved by Nancy,
Second.
second by Bob. Hi, Chris. We're just doing the minutes. Are there any corrections, additions?
I think maybe we should add, right at the very top of page 2. And I think maybe we should say per the attached letter and attach the letter from the attorney.
Okay.
Okay,
I mean, that way it doesn't look like we're the ones making that decision unadvised.
Okay, I'll attach it.
by town attorney.
That's just a suggestion.
We'll do it.
I agree. Anything else?
I'm good.
A motion to accept with one change?
So move, or so.
Oh, wait, yeah,
Aye.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Doing okay?
Yes.
Now we'll move into public comments. Anyone?
Jim Swanson from Lake Pleasant. Just a real shout out to Chris Waller, Randy and his team in terms of this past weekend and the things that we went through. I think your group did an excellent job in terms of with the roads and helping out and everything associated with that. Also to you, Dan, for the work and the coordination that you did with the mayor and Speculator and just the number of people that got attended to, and not everybody is out of the woods yet in terms of some of the damage that they've seen and water in their homes and everything else like that. But I think the people in charge rallied around it and really did a great job with it, so much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Hi, Gary Reinhardt. I'd like to echo his sentiments that you guys did a good job, the highway guys, the ambulance, the fire department, everybody did a great job. I was able to speak with Mrs. Meister a little bit on this, of course with the internet and power being all wonky. It was a little hard to communicate. I was wondering if I could have a little clarification on emergency shelter, like where people can go if there is an emergency. Luckily the power got back on in a quick manner, but I know of people who, if the power had not been on for quite a while, especially with it being as cold as it is, the fact it's snowing, that they would need a place to shower, a place to cook, a place to do things, and I was able to get a few answers, but I just wanted to clarify, like, what if we figured out a plan, or if there is a plan, or where should people go?
I mean, answer
Well,
that.
there is a plan, and there's a very detailed plan. In fact, that's what Dan was following right from the beginning of the emergency. Apparently, the school is not opened as an emergency shelter unless somebody wants to use it as such. That's how it seems to be. The library has said in the past here in open meetings that during library open hours, people can come in and use the facilities here. That didn't work Friday because they didn't open on Friday. But if, like I said to you in our back and forth, if you know of somebody that needed help, you know, to let us know. I think I gave you Dan's number and Randy's number and Debbie's number and,
I don't think I got that part, but like I said, the internet was wonky. I
Yeah,
might
it
not have
was,
gotten
it
the notification that said that you replied to that or.
you know, the other thing, Gary, that you can do for these people you're concerned about, I mailed out a few, applications to get on the vulnerable population registry this morning, because people who don't live here were concerned about their parents or their grandparents, and I said, first thing I said, well, if they're on that list, then Dan or Randy or somebody has checked on them.
Well,
And,
I'm sorry.
well,
The one problem is.
yeah, the sheriff's
uh,
office, that was the other number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The particular people I would talk about are not, older, they're about my age. But they live in a building that is not conducive with a generator or anything like that, and they were able to get water from the lake for the toiletries and stuff like that. Is there a minimum amount of people who need to, call, I guess, the town or the school and say, hey, we need to use this facility, or
Not that I'm aware of.
is it
No, there
just
isn't.
like
There
whoever
was-
calls,
There was no
they'll get somebody
request,
there?
Gary. Had there been, we were already prepared with the school to open the school as the official emergency shelter if needed.
Where do the requests, or are the requests supposed to come?
So I would assume requests would come to the supervisor's office. At that,
And if we have no power, then we have no
Yeah.
phone.
And then without, phones or some, and I know we talked about this a little bit a while, the last time stuff like this happened is, like the cell phone tower, of course,
Yeah.
almost on cue,
Yeah,
was like, done.
yeah,
No, it
I wonder
doesn't
whatever
work.
happened to the generator that I've been pushing for
Yeah.
2 years.
had it been 10 below zero out,
Yeah,
it would have been a different story. But temperatures were holding fairly well. Nobody was really complaining about the need of a place to go. I did coordinate with Roxanne Saturday morning to open a little bit early. Cause the power had been out for an extended period of time at that point.
The town hall was open on Friday.
Yes.
We were there all day, and I had left the outside lights on so people knew that we had a generator, so if anybody was driving by and needed something, they would know that we were there, so.
It's always been a bit stuck in my craw that the town pays half of the school's generator, and we continue to each year. And yet it seems like it's a difficult thing to use the school. It always seems to be some kind of a stumbling block. And then-
There's no stumbling block, we could have had that open in 10 minutes.
But if
But
people
in the
don't
past, when the
know,
school was opened as emergency shelter, it wasn't used.
well,
well, I'm just glad that we can get it on the tape that facility is open, because not, to Nancy's point, not everybody knows that. So
It's
that's
very
why I kinda
difficult.
that's why I wanted the clarification on what it was, cause Christine also suggested that the Pacifico school is open. Luckily down in Wells, the Wells School is open for people more that way. So I just wanted clarification on that, and like I said, with the internet being wonky, especially at that time and the power, I might not have gotten the notification, but thank you for
I
getting
had it
back
the
to me.
whole time and I didn't know about the school situation.
But thank you for your help though, Christine, as much as we could
Well,
communicate with each other.
and I hope you were passing the word along.
Yeah, I was.
Okay, good, I assumed that. The Pacifico school is specifically set up now, that when their power goes out, those doors are open. And people can go in there, but the way it's set up is they have limited access to parts of the building. So they can do that. And maybe that's something that we should be talking to our school about, if they could do something like that. I don't know how it would work, because our school has that huge open floor plan.
Well, how far do you go? Gary's talking about a place to take a shower and cook.
Yeah, I mean,
It
you
gets a
could
little
close
different,
off like the left hallway, all those classrooms. You could close off near Mr. Bobette's office and still go through the gym to get to the showers, at least if I remember correctly, and then the kitchen's right in that right hallway, so you could still close off the majority of the classrooms and still have the essentials open, the shower, the kitchen, the gymnasium for a place to sleep if they have the beds out and stuff. But I'm also not an expert on how the locking mechanisms work in that, so that would be something you'd have to talk to them about.
Yeah, that's.
But that's just how I remember the floor plan.
Yeah,
But,
I
yeah.
think that that's something that we can look into for sure.
Okay, well, like I said,
We're setting up a debriefing meeting sometime possibly next week. I'll make sure that we discuss that.
okay, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Caitlin Stewart, Town of Lake Pleasant Library and Manager for the Hamilton County Soil and Water Conservation District. In the wake of the Halloween storm, I wanted to let the town board know, and especially our supervisor and our town highway superintendent know, that funding has come through the Natural Resources Conservation Service. I sent out an email blitz today to all of our municipalities, and I wanted to follow up since I'm here tonight, and I will be making phone calls to the rest of our Hamilton County municipalities. Funding was just released today through the Natural Resources Conservation Service for an emergency watershed protection program. And what happens with this program is a municipality has to sponsor, apply for the funding, and funding will be directed to landowners, private property owners who are dealing with the repercussions of the floods. So this funding is for flood mitigation for our private landowners. Today Lenny was down in Wells surveying the damage. We had a couple of phone calls come in from private property owners. So we're making a list that we will disseminate to our Natural Resources Conservation Service partner, Tom Bielli, and he will make site visits. It's a simple, I think they call it a rapid form that the landowners fill out, and we can get funding to landowners. But it has to have a municipal sponsorship. The match is 25% for the municipality, and that can come from in-kind, it can come from funding from the town, or if the town chooses, the landowners can foot the bill for this. 75% will come from federal funds. So I blitzed some information about that, just wanted to give you a heads up. And also the DEC has issued a general permit that will get conservation on the ground super quickly. Usually there's a 3-day wait period for that. Basically, if you fill out the general permit and send it in, they're gonna put their stamp of approval right on it. And I emailed that general permit too. So I just wanted to let you all know that those materials are waiting in your inbox, and thank you for keeping our communities safe, and the Conservation District is ready to help our communities rebuild. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. That's already been shared, Caitlin. I appreciate you getting it out to us so quickly too.
Thank you. So, partnerships make it happen, and NRCS had this at our fingertips this morning, so it was great. It was
Great, good. Anyone else? All right, we'll move right into highway.
Okay, going along with everybody, I wanna thank first of all, my employees. I called them at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, some of them at 11 o'clock at night, and they didn't hesitate. They managed to get in through the rain, through the storms, the floods, and been very busy since, from driving trucks to loaders to backhoes, and literally down on their hands and knees cleaning culverts. And we have a long ways to go before winter hits. So I'm gonna say it again, I wanna thank them. Also, Dan Wilt was out helping us that night. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chris Rhodes kept the gravel bank open all weekend, Saturday and Sunday, till at least 12 hours a day. That helped out the county and us tremendously, being able to get gravel to open up roads. Chris Meixner brought us lunch, which was a big plus on Saturday. It's all the little things that we kind of, forget about when we're running out to go to work. Also, we've been getting refreshments, in at the shop, and I wanna thank everybody for that, because it keeps them going during the day. We've been working 12-hour days, except for today, we went to a 10-hour day since it started, so they've been busy. Few statements on the storm. We are trying to get the roads passable first, then we're gonna fix the shoulders, the ditches, driveways, so on and so forth. As far as I know, everybody has a driveway to get out. That was our first, priority. If you have 2 driveways and one of them's washed out, you're gonna be at the bottom of the list, for a while. We're gonna try to go road to road to road, fixing them, since we're responsible for to the back of the ditch. Tree cleanup will be next after that. Oxbow Road has significant amount, Tamarack Road, minor stuff, Fawn Lake, so on. Perkins clearing, it's almost as bad as springtime when I post the roads and close the gates. It's closed. It's access for lime timbers, guys in there working on the roads only. DEC's been driving in there, getting people out left and right. People still think that they can go in there and do whatever they want, and then find out they can't get back out. We had one of our trucks almost run off the road yesterday. The game of chicken worked out not so good for the smaller vehicle. He got towed out with an excavator. So then I closed the roads and was confronted by some upset hunters, to where I had to call the sheriff's department. It's closed. It's going to be closed for a while, because we're gonna fix our town roads that everybody drives on every day first.
Is there a way that there can be a county travel ban?
It's a state of emergency right now.
Yeah.
There's one in
But I
Not-
mean,
Nobody's
where-
supposed to be traveling except for needed.
Oh, that's what I'm saying, so, I mean, to dissuade hunters from coming?
Well, DEC has asked for a state trooper patrol to be sitting up there, and they said no. So, that's where we sit on that. It got to the point where we shut the gates, and then people were opening the gates and coming in. Somewhere.
It's a hunting emergency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yesterday we passed quite a few four-wheelers heading south, so when we were heading north, so I'm thinking probably where they were.
Yep. As far as roads that were closed, Hamilton Lake is open. South Shore Road is 1 lane, one night only, during the day they close it to work on it. Gilman Town is, all except for the ditches, back open both lanes, you know. Page Street was major damage, that's open, still more work to be done, but go slow. We lost almost 1,000 feet of road. The supplies at the town garage, everybody probably used to notice that there was a mountain of gravel and so on and so forth back there. It's gone. That was just on Page Street. So, moving on from that, we will continue chugging along. Snowstorms, oh yeah, if you see cones out, they're there for a reason. I have in the back of my truck probably a dozen cones that are smashed, broken, so on and so forth, because people decide to drive over them, whether or not they're the National Grid, whoever did it, doesn't matter. There's also cones on roads now that are open for washouts, where the road is undermined. It may look like it's just a shoulder of the road, but most of them that have cones on it now are almost half the road. We haven't gotten to those sections yet. And hopefully nobody knocks the cones over and decides to drive through there, because they might end up there.
Let's go.
Yeah. And we hope the water goes down soon. So, moving on to the list I had prior to this little debacle. Driveway sanding resolution. I'm getting was getting lots of requests for, where do I sign up for, have my driveway sanded if we have an ice storm?
I think we passed a resolution not to do that.
Correct. We passed the resolution last year that if it was declared a state of emergency, but that resolution ended, I think it was April or May
April,
1st,
May, yeah.
somewhere in there. So what are we doing with this?
We should look at that and readdress it at the next meeting. How about that? You wanna do that?
It's up to you guys. I just need an answer to the people that are coming in.
You know, we'll resurrect that, read it, and make a
Can you get a
determination.
copy to the rest of the board so we can look at it again?
I bet she's looking it up right this second.
How'd you guess?
Cause as soon as I said it, you went right to your computer.
Well, yeah, to refresh all our memories, if you want, it's short, do you want me to read it? Oh, wait a minute, that's the amended one. Glasses would be good right now.
Can't help you.
That was 2018.
I could
Okay,
just
I'll-
jump in
I'll-
and say that a lot of contractors have invested a lot of money in equipment for sanding
I agree.
driveways.
I just didn't know if we wanted to leave it like we did last year, or is it, we had to have a state of emergency, or when she
Yeah.
pulls it up.
Authorizing the superintendent of highways, when the town supervisor declares an ice emergency, or the deputy town supervisor in the absence of the supervisor, to sand the private driveways of those who call to be on the current list. And
Was there a date on it?
that's pretty much it. No, we didn't. Oh, through May 1st,
Through May 1st,
2019. So yes, it did expire. So,
Maybe you could forward that to us and we can discuss it at the next meeting, you think?
Works for me.
I'd be glad to
I
do
just wanted to
that.
get the ball
Do we
rolling.
know if there's
All
snow
of a sudden, I
coming
had
during
two
the
or
next
three
couple
requests
of
on my
weeks?
desk. I'm like, okay, we gotta address this.
No, ice is,
Are
yeah.
we expecting snow or ice in the next couple of
Snow.
weeks before we meet again?
No, nothing that's gonna be that drastic, but
Okay, so yeah, we could,
Can we quote you on that?
Yeah.
no. Okay, so the next thing, 215 and 212 were put up to auction pending board approval. The auction is over as of last Friday. 215's high bid is $18,100.
18 what?
18,100. And 212, the smaller truck, is 17,000.
Really?
Wow.
Where'd that come from?
Even,
No idea.
As
even
is.
broken?
As is with the plow.
Wow.
So,
So total, grand total, $35,100.
what do I sign?
So I don't know if you wanted to, I mean, I expected 20 and 10. So we're,
So we're
net,
at
we're over.
Yeah,
So it's up to you guys.
seems satisfactory to me. All in favor of
That's good.
Accepting that?
accepting the-
Okay, I will click on that tonight, later on.
Anyone opposed to that?
Well, I'll make a motion just so that it's in the record,
Motion by Bob,
I'll
because we are
Yep.
disposing of assets.
second by Nancy. We're all in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Hearing none.
Okay, so those two trucks will be, as soon as they get the process going here, probably within a couple days to be gone.
And they know they have to remove we remove the lettering, or?
Their lettering will, we remove.
Okay.
Yeah. license plates, lettering, radios,
Okay,
and
perfect.
the rest is theirs.
And cards to me, so I can get that canceled.
Yep. They've been working very hard the last 2 days, 3 days.
I'm quite aware of that.
I know, that's, we took the lettering off of one of them in radios, but it was still being used
Still could hold.
today, it hauled dirt.
Are you gonna be okay without it?
So that's my next statement. No jumping the gun here. Told you before, the bids on, or quotes to the bid process of the 3,500 and the 5,500. 3,500 is 53,761 is what I suggest. A little bit smaller truck, but obviously a smaller price tag. The 5,500, the lower one is 64,000, so 11,000 more, roughly, 64,260. Those are both 2020 trucks, which means we would have to order them, and they would not be in until what they're calling sometime in the first quarter, which means it could be as far as the end of March.
Okay.
Any 2019s out there?
Well, I'm still looking. 2019, the original quote for the 5,500, they have in stock sitting there. Now, that's the bigger one, and that's 67,000 on the bid program. So, either I continue to try to find a dealer that has a 2019 and has a working bid, which typically they do. It's just gonna have to keep searching dealership to dealership to see if they have any on that. Or have them, you know, hopefully Mangino or some, one of them will plug it in the
They should be
computer
able
and
to
find it.
find it.
Right, they'll be able to, you know, if there's any out there.
But you really want the 35.
Well, we have a 55 now.
Understand,
Price tag on a 35 is much more attractive.
and there's a lot more of them out there.
And there's a lot more of them out there, and the parts for them are a lot more reasonable
And
and
available.
ready. And that, you know, so, yes, I was leaning towards the 3,500.
But now would we overwork that vehicle?
No, we'd have to, you know, downsize what we put in it.
Okay.
It's a 9-foot box rather than an 11-foot box. I mean, it's just gonna have to. A deep grade that keeps caving in, we're just gonna have to take 2 loads out, not one. Is our worst case scenario for that.
Well, this would be the truck that plowed our municipal and parking lots and
Correct,
all that
Health
stuff.
center.
correct. Health
library.
center,
So it doesn't have to be another great big tandem.
no. It's a small truck that does that
It'd be a
now.
lot easier to use.
Yes, we have the 55 that we have now, the code, you know, our small dump truck that plows all this, it would be just a little bit smaller than that. But, not only this storm, but it's going to start snowing soon. So, kinda got it, this gets confusing. I would like to find a 19, 3,500, and have them build it and get it ready as soon as possible. If not, we have to order 20. That being said, I would like to purchase a small electric sander that will fit in the back of our our pickup trucks that we have now. That way we can salt the parking lots and so on and so forth. When we're all said and done, it will go into that truck.
That sounds practical to me.
That's my scheme of things. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, you were talking about that last year.
So I went and got 2 quotes. One of them at $4,690 and the other one at $5,083. Both of them are in stock available. You know, delivery within a week.
Different
Portage
manufacturers?
sand. Same manufacturer, just different companies supplying. It's a
Same machine then.
same machine, identical part number. Stainless steel, 2 cubic yard, electric sander, it's what the county has in the back of their pickup
Yep.
that they do around the jail with. That's where I got the part numbers off of it. Go to what we know, and that way we need parts, we all have them.
How long to get delivery of that, do you think?
Less than a week. And
Wow.
They both have them in stock. So, it's just whenever the delivery guy comes up next.
So you're looking for a motion to purchase one?
I am.
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, I'll second it.
And also, what do I need to do as far as a resolution to start looking,
I would,
And
if
come
we
back.
can find it, come back to the board.
come back to the board?
Yeah.
Okay. 2019, if possible, if not, 2020. The time frame. Okay,
I'm afraid we're gonna have to.
Pause?
Pause and at 7:30, we'll move into the budget hearing.
Could we just vote on that?
Okay.
We got a motion and a second.
Okay,
We already
sorry.
voted on it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, great.
What did we just do?
it's almost done.
Was that?
For him to look into it and to purchase that.
Okay, yeah, that was made by Dan, second by Chris.
Not looking into purchase, authorizing. the purchase.
Authorizing
Yeah.
the purchase, yeah, looking into the truck.
I can't pull it up right now. Are there any questions from the public on the budget this time?
I believe we're open until we close.
We'll leave it open, we'll go back into the,
That was short. and sweet.
yeah, okay.
Alright, now that you let me pause. Snowmobile trails. I was asked today, and if you guys can imagine this, all of you, how the trail's made out and how the bridge is made out. I have no idea. I probably won't know until December sometime, realistically. So it's not that it's not a concern of mine, but it's way down the list.
It is what it is, yeah.
And
Exactly.
rightfully so.
Yeah.
Nobody desired it.
I know Perkins Clarence, the snowmobile trail, the roads in there, the upper roads, Lime Timbers roads, state roads, whatever, are in a mess. So that's gonna be an interesting situation up there. Anywhere from 15 to 40 feet deep in spots, just gone. Depending on what river ran through it. So, going back to not storm stuff. State snow. Other townships have let me know in the process, I went to DOT and confirmed this, that if we submit at the end of the year, what's called a call-out sheet. So, say the guys are on the state road. They have 2-week periods, there's 2 crews. And they rotate 2 weeks at a time. If I call them at 6 o'clock at night, that acts as a call out for the state guys, for Arieta's men, for Inlet's men, and if we do this, our men. After 10, I believe it's 10 call outs, they get $500 minus taxes. Refunded 100% by the state snow, like we do our time and everything else now. This has been going on for about 5 years, come to find out. And this, nobody let the cat out of the bag until now. So if the guys do 30 hours, they get $750, or not 30 hours, 30 call-outs a year. It's not if I schedule them to come in at 5 o'clock in the morning, it's if they go home at 2:30 and I call them back to go on the state road. The flip side to that is, if I call them and they don't answer their phone in the course of the winter 3 times, they lose it all. So there is the idea that they wanna keep their phone with them and answer it. Because if we get to December and all of a sudden they get their 3rd ding and they just lost that whole,
Then they
Check.
incur it all after that.
Correct. They've answered it, and, most of my guys, that is not the situation. They all want the overtime and they all, are there to help us and be on call. That's why they sign up for it.
What's the process of,
The process is a form I have on the computer, and it's, the guy's name's on a list, the month, and every time I call them, I put a check mark. If I call them and they don't answer, I put a red X on it. And that monthly, that goes into, we file with our state snow,
and you say that's reimbursable?
and it's 100%
And
reimbursed.
they keep track of the numbers and not us? Is it-
I keep track of the numbers, and then they keep track of the numbers, just like we do the state snow
So-
hours. I have a
Yeah.
program on here that matches Diane's numbers at the county. They send it into the state, they get reimbursed, and they reimburse us.
Okay, yep,
So it's 100% completely refundable, reimbursable, I should say, from the state. Just like their overtime is and their
yep.
truck time and everything else.
Why wouldn't we do this?
Well, that's why I wanted to confirm this at my state snow meeting, and that's when I got the forms and everything else, and they said the only thing I need to do is have a resolution that we would pay that out. Because, we have to pay it out
To get the.
in order to get it reimbursed. It's the way we do everything. We pay the guys and then they get reimbursed.
That's golden, let's do this.
Yeah,
I'll move.
It's
moved by Bob.
a
I'll
little bit more
second
for the
it.
guys from the state, basically.
I'll second that.
Okay,
All in favor?
all right.
Opposed? Hearing none.
On buildings, our sump pumps worked awesome. I give a special condolence to them themselves. The library's spotlessly dry after this whole power out, power on, generators on. All the generators worked, knock on wood, for both things. This building and that building and ours. All worked perfectly, so.
Which means that the footing drain worked, which is kind of amazing, where'd it go?
Down there in that lake down there. So, I was very happy to see it when the power came back on, and everything was spotlessly dry down there. So, that's all I have.
Nice,
Good,
That's it?
good report.
That's it. Sorry,
thank you.
it's been a busy couple weeks.
Yeah, it's not gonna get any better right away either.
I will move into old business. The first item I have is the procurement policy. Everybody received a copy of the final version,
Yep. Thank you.
and I'll make a motion to approve as submitted. By Chris,
Thank you. I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. It's adopted. Next thing I had, last meeting, I handed out the letter from concerning the Hawk bill. I was hoping everybody would have had a chance to take a look at that. Are there any questions?
Seemed to be pretty clear, to me, anyway.
I thought so too. Anyone? Okay, good. Any new business?
Can I do an old business?
Sure.
Wondering if and when we're ever going to get a generator on top of Oak Mountain or someplace so that we won't go through the batteries running down?
That discussion came up the other day, all the paperwork was filed, approved.
With whom?
Bob, they got their permits and they never did it.
Oak or,
Verizon.
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 oh, okay.
Back at that.
So that hopefully will happen?
That's up to Verizon.
Time for another petition to the
Oh.
public
Oh, that is
service
a
commission.
Yeah, here we go
Here.
again.
Yeah.
I have some new business, if that can be,
Are we done with old business?
oh, sorry, Nancy.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I just want you to know that the town clerk has received a letter from Elizabeth O'Brien stating that this letter to notify you that we are submitting an application to the New York State Liquor Authority for an on-premise alcohol beverage control retail license for the consumption of liquor, beer, and wine at Melly Lodge in Lake Pleasant. Sincerely, Elizabeth A. O'Brien.
Thank you. Any other new business?
I did draw up some just rough ideas of resolutions for the health insurance. We had a meeting with Brian Molt and all the employees to talk about the different options that we have for this year. You'll see that the senior citizens Medicare Gold Anywhere PPO for 2020 went down 1.2%, so it's at a minus, and it's the same exact plan that they had last year. So it will be saving the town $5 and some odd cents per month per retiree. And also, we had a meeting with Brian about the insurance for the workers, and it was discussed, and everybody feels, if possible, that the insurance that we're carrying now, which would be an increase of 4.9%, would be something that we would like to keep.
Well, I was at that meeting, so I'll move this resolution.
Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed?
And that way I can go ahead and proceed with Brian to get a contract together for the workers, and I do have the contract, as you see right there, to sign for the seniors. Thank you.
Okay, any other new business? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to pay the bills. Anyone?
So moved.
Moved by Chris,
Well, maybe I shouldn't, I forgot to go look at them tonight. It better not be me.
I'll move with pulling that one out.
okay?
Yeah. And I'll explain to you afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second that, or Mike second that. Yeah, okay.
So Nancy and Mike,
Yeah.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're back at public comment, anyone?
Hi, Holly Smith. I was following earlier discussion about the fact that it's little known that the school will be open in emergencies on demand. And I don't think it was ever stated who the demand goes to.
Exactly.
Is it you? Is it the school superintendent? To whom do you make the request?
Well, that's kind of a gray area, and I think we'll be discussing that at the debriefing meeting on the emergency management plan.
I'm sure if they go to the jail will let us know. You,
Yeah.
me, somebody.
We've had no requests from anyone. Although in every case where it's been the possibility of the need of the shelter, made the arrangements in need to have the school open. I know in the past, the school was open to, as the emergency shelter and nobody showed up.
It's cooking.
So we need to look at a good procedure as far as how to handle that.
So for the moment, if something terrible were to happen and we needed shelter, would we call you?
Well, either myself or the sheriff's department, they would notify me.
Thank you.
Bill?
William Pestel, speculative New York resident. Once again, I'd like to thank the board, Randy, for your crew helping also. Mr. Will, I talked to you, thank you very much. Chris, said a couple things to you on Facebook, I appreciate your effort and input on what's going on in the community. Technology is so great, it's helpful for sending us information and stuff like that. My other question is, sanding these driveways, do you know of any other municipality that sands public driveways?
Yes, the town of Arietta did.
So town of Arietta does,
I
The
think
village does.
they all do in an emergency,
they all do, so.
if it's a nice emergency.
Wells does.
Has to be a declared emergency.
Okay, because
Right.
to me, it's a gray area. You know, I know when this came up before, there was people against the town going into this, which I kind of believe we shouldn't be looking to go into this, because I think there's a liability facts and stuff like that. We all need to be safe about it, but I just believe there's, liabilities out there. If you're backing in when you're one of Randy's guys jump off the truck, slips and falls on that property, it's a whole ball of wax.
Or the
So-
truck throws a rock and it hits a car. Or
Yeah,
hits a-
anything like that, I mean, it's a gray area, I think it's nice that we can do that, but we really need to think of the safety of it, or, expect of the expense of it and stuff like that, so I just wanna give you my feel about that, so I just don't think I don't think this town should go into it, I think other people should do it, other businesses, contractors should be into it, so.
And to add that, if it's okay,
Mhm.
when we had discussed this in the past, these guys the perfect scenario is these guys are out plowing for hours
Yes.
on end, and then it could take up to 3 days to sand
To catch
driveways.
up the driveways,
It's
yeah.
unsafe it's not fair to the guys who
No,
work
it's not,
with
you'd never catch up. Yeah.
And there's contractors in the town
Mhm.
more than willing to
They're
invest in
designed
the
for
equipment
itself,
to do
for it,
that.
yeah.
People pay to have their driveways plowed. I personally agree that it should be.
Yeah, that was just my question. Randy, would you know if Gilman Town Road is open all the way? I know it's not your district. Gilman Town's not open all the way, it says the town road is open
Town road is open.
to the line. Okay.
To the 2-hour line. Wells is in at the county part of
Yes,
it
yeah,
is a disaster.
not accessible.
It's going to be at least a week or two.
Wow.
Elbow Creek did its thing again?
No, Elbow Creek straightened out.
Oh,
Hello.
I remember the last time.
Yeah, everything that you've seen in the last 2 years where the county's been working, putting riprap and redoing the roads, guardrails, everything else is gone.
Oh,
2 years worth of work.
That was
gone.
beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
you. Anyone else?
Yes.
Mr. Prairie.
Mark Prairie, speculator. Concerning the budget, since you last passed the preliminary budget 2 weeks ago, we've got some minor changes that need to be addressed. Some funding options that need to be discussed before we can go on and adopt the budget. So would you like me to discuss that with the budget committee? Or should we do that as a board as a whole? Schedule a special meeting between now and adoption time, which is coming up shortly, in a couple
well,
weeks.
which leads me to, are we gonna take a cruise through the budget for the behalf of the public during a public hearing?
We can, if you prefer.
Well, I just remember when it used to be done.
But we handed out budgets
Never
for
did.
them to look at.
Oh, they have budgets.
They have.
Preliminary budgets were copies, yeah, I did that.
Okay.
I would think.
What's the feeling of the board?
Well, if there's questions, I think we would address it.
There hasn't been any questions.
Other than that,
But if there's a change to the budget, as this is before the public hearing, and then changes are made after this, then where's the public having a chance to address the changes that Mark's talking about, whatever they may be?
Well,
You know what I mean?
that's the issue here. If we make some
Oh.
changes, we should hold a special meeting before the final adoption.
I mean, I don't know what changes you're making, but how could the.
well, we didn't have,
public
for instance, we didn't
comment
have the numbers for the health insurance, we just got those.
Health
Oh,
insurance,
I see, okay.
workman's comp,
They're really plug and play numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
yeah, I just.
Should we
I mean,
schedule?
this is a living, breathing thing, so the
Yeah.
board adopted the preliminary budget 2 weeks ago. And then since then, we've had these fluctuations that we're going to address and either increase the budget, decrease the budget in certain areas. And I think we should have a meeting so the public's available to ask any additional questions.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, on your budget schedule that you handed out, it states here, the final revisions to the preliminary budget is filed with the town clerk the week of November 11th. So,
So we would have to have a special meeting before then.
Now, that's not, that November 11th date is not a hard
You
date.
gotta go through
No,
it now.
so-
it's the week of, this is the week of.
Yeah, the adoption date is the hard date, which is.
Right, that's November 18th. And don't forget, when you have these special meetings, you have to post in the newspapers
Right.
5 days prior to the meeting, so.
So what's the adoption date?
Is November 18th.
18.
But the revisions of the preliminary budget have to be filed with the town clerk the week of November 11th.
Okay.
What do you feel comfortable with setting a special meeting date at?
The first part of next week,
Monday?
Tuesday.
It's a holiday.
Monday's a holiday.
Monday's Veterans Day, right?
Tuesday work?
Okay,
So you're gonna hold a
it's all
special,
work day to me. I'm not
you're
gonna
holding
do
a
it.
special meeting, the public's open to the public?
You wanna do that 5 o'clock at the town office?
That'd be great. If you're all agreeable.
Monday, this is?
Tuesday.
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 And it will be open.
All budget workshops are open.
What's the date of that, the
The
Tuesday?
12th.
12th.
And that's at 5 o'clock? At town hall.
And while we're on the subject of the budget, Karen, I want you to thank your board for us for the cuts that they were willing to make, the few $1,000s.
And I'll counter that by, and I probably should have said in public comment or during that budget hearing, but I didn't have any questions on the budget, is I appreciate the board's support of a service to this community that, I don't want to use this word cultural nature, but somewhat that has a lot of intangible benefits to the town as well. And I appreciate your support as well for taking into consideration what we have suggested as well. I appreciate that very much.
We appreciate that
That
you're
work
willing to
for
work
you?
with us.
Absolutely.
The only thing about Tuesday the 12th is I have court at 7, so if you start at 5, that's,
Shouldn't be that much,
Give us something to work with.
yeah,
not that many individual items, I may
No.
take 2 hours to deal with them.
okay.
That work, Mark?
Works for me, if it works for all of you guys. Good?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, great.
Okay, it's on my calendar.
Anyone else? All right, move to round table. Deb, anything?
No,
Nancy? Chris? Bob?
No, I think we do need to announce that the public hearing is closed before we walk out anyway.
Right. Okay, Randy?
Wait for the snow on Thursday.
You said it wasn't good.
I know.
I'm not putting that in the minutes.
Significant.
All right,
Four letter
we'll
words.
close, at this time, we'll close the public session on the budget. And is there any reason to move into executive session? Hearing none, then we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
So, only 11:30.
We need a motion